You know, I'm an Air Force Master Sergeant, and I served 22 years in the Air Force. And I can tell you from day one, I've always seen women in uniform working side by side with men. You know, my career field in the Air Force was combat age. Combat age is an acronym for aerospace ground equipment. So my job was Air Force flight line, out where all the planes taxi, take off, the fighter jets, helicopters, you name it. My job out there was to be a maintainer. And the uniqueness of age is that we were maintainers for all types of maintenance systems, whether it be hydraulic, hydraulic, gas, diesel engines, corrosion control, you name it. We had to know everything. And let me tell you, the women that worked alongside me, they carried their weight. They carried their weight. Even as far back as tech school, technical school for the Air Force, I sat in classrooms with women. Women didn't have a separate test than the men. They had the same exact test. The entry requirements for the women were exactly the same. And as I mentioned, I was a maintainer on an Air Force flight line, which is called heavy maintenance. And I'll tell you a funny story involving a woman working flight line alongside me. If anybody in maintenance knows that when you work with your hands or with your arms, they strengthen. Your forearms get strong, your wrists are strong, your hands. That's just by nature of working with your hands in any capacity, but particularly for heavy maintenance on the Air Force flight line. I remember we had a female that worked on a flight line with us, and she had a tremendous amount of respect from the men working alongside her because she didn't complain. She wore her uniform well. She got grease under her fingernails just like we did. And, at the end of the day, she pulled her weight. She pulled her weight. Well, one day there was a gentleman who tried to, I guess, challenge her in the strength of her, in a sense. And somehow one thing led to another, and they began to talk about an arm wrestling contest. And so, lo and behold, they pulled out a chair and tables, and they sat right there, and I watched it myself. And I watched this female beat this man 3 times. 3 times. She was not some muscular built female, nothing like that. And the man was not some little petite dude, anything like that. What he did was experience the strength of a woman. Women have always served our military, and I'm so proud to say that I have served alongside them, as I mentioned. I've had women under my supervision. I've had women who have been my commanders. And no matter where I look, I see professionalism. I see folks that wear the uniform the right way. I see folks that carry themselves the right way. Not just men. I'm talking about women. I'm talking about women. I've had the pleasure of serving under several female commanders in my career, my 22-year career. And let me tell you, every female commander I've served under, I'm proud to say I served with them. But I also had females that I supervised. And one of the things I did, even outside of supervising women in the military, I've always been an advocate for the woman. In fact, I have always been an advocate for anybody who has to fight hard to sustain their place in our nation's greatest military. And so I always fought the good fight when it comes to women. I've had many conversations behind closed doors with women, talked about how they were mistreated, how they were abused, how they were, not given the same privileges. And let me tell you, when I came out of that room, I went looking for targets. I went looking for women, not men. I'm sorry. I went looking for men who despicably made women targets of their vile behaviors. And let me tell you, any fight I got into involving protecting a woman, I gave it my all, because I know that the woman gave it her all just to survive in a world of men in uniform. I put out a post this morning on TikTok where I was thanking women, and I pushed back against what some of Pete Hegseth said about women, particularly the double standards, so to say. I don't know. The guy just seems like he has it out for women. And the only thing I can think is that Pete Hegseth likely ran across a woman in the military. Could have been a guard woman, could have been national active duty. He was guard. But, we work amongst everybody, guard, reserve, active duty. So who knows? But it's very clear to me that a woman likely came across Pete Hegseth, crossed paths with him, and put him in his place. And oh, by the way, I suspect that female outranked him. And oh, by the way, I suspect it was the same for someone of color. Someone of color outranked this guy, put him in his place. He didn't like it. So now he's going on this revenge and retribution tour at the Pentagon. Very shameful. Very shameful. You call all these women, these admirals and generals to this military meeting a couple of days ago, and in the audience, I saw female military leaders. Now, keep in mind, these are some of our nation's highest military leaders. And in that audience, I saw women. I saw proud women. And all I could think when I saw those women of what they've had to endure just to get up to that rank. I could only imagine. I could only imagine. And this isn't hyperbole. This is not me just making up something about the treatment of women in the military. I've seen it for myself. I fought against it. I fought alongside women in their pursuit of equality. And so let me just say that I salute women for the things they have done for this nation, for the things they continue to do for this nation. And, for any female out there that is, thinking about joining the military, please don't let the words and actions of Pete Hegseth sway you from doing that. Go into the military. It's a great organization. It's an organization of professionals. And, you saw that professionalism in that audience of 800 admirals and generals when those gentlemen were speaking and when they left the room. There wasn't even a hand clap in that room. That's professionalism. That's professionalism. So women out there, if you felt any kind of way about what Pete Hegseth said during that disastrous speech to the admirals and generals, if it made you feel low, if it made you feel less than, then shame on us as a man. As men, shame on us. You earned the right to wear the uniform. You earned the right to serve under that flag. You also have the right to be respected. And from this man, you will always get your respect. Always. So thank you for your service to our nation. The women, as I speak now, in my mind, I can see women, bandaging up and taking care of our warfighters in Vietnam in tents and horrid conditions. I see women in World War II, trying to make the war effort one of where U.S. could see success by getting on assembly lines. And women out there, sorting mail and doing things that were a necessity because they were forbidden from doing other things like combat. So women have always played a pivotal role in our nation's military history. I am proud to say I work alongside women. I hate what women are going through right now. Based on the speech and the words said yesterday from Pete Hegseth, women are in trouble. You're in trouble. But just know that you're not alone. Just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of men in the military that will have your back. And I tell the men in the military out there, do the right thing. Do the right thing. These ladies just want to serve, just like we do. So treat them equally. They didn't get a hand up. There's no different test for technical school for the Air Force for a woman. Nothing was different. The only thing that I saw different was the drive in the women's eyes. You see, because their drive had to be much deeper. They've had to work twice as hard. And yes, they've had to prove themselves. Is it right? No. No, it's not right. But they met those challenges head on. And as I worked beside these women, turning wrenches and maneuvering around fighter aircraft on flight lines, all I can say to myself is, wow, wow. So with that, thank you all women who are now serving and those who have served. Thank you. You are appreciated. Bye-bye.